You wake up, you put on the uniform or the suit or the boots, you drink the coffee, you drive the commute, you do the work. And you are doing everything right. You aren't lazy, you show up. But there is this feeling deep in your gut that the math isn't mathing. Maybe you're 25 and grinding. Maybe you're 30 and wondering why the savings account looks pathetic. Or maybe you're staring down the barrel of 35 and you feel this invisible pressure. For decades, society lied to us. They told us that 6 figures, $100,000 a year, was the finish line. They said if you hit that number, you made it, you won. But you look around and 100 grand doesn't feel like winning. It feels like survival. You aren't crazy. The game changed while you were playing it. There is a specific chemical reaction that happens in your finances around age 35. It is a tipping point, a catalyst. If you don't have the right ingredients in the pot by then, the mixture becomes unstable. Today, we aren't talking about getting rich quick. We are talking about why the system is designed to break you if you miss this specific target, and how to fix the formula before the reaction blows up in your face. I'm Hiesenbank. Let's cook. Let's start with the solvent, the environment you're swimming in. You feel behind financially at 30 because the measuring stick you were given is broken. The success timeline myth told you that by 30 you should have the house, the car, the 2 kids, and the dog. But that timeline was built on 1990s math. If you were a laborer worker doing overtime or an office manager chasing a promotion, you know this uncomfortable truth. Is 100K enough anymore? No, it is the new middle class. In 2024, $100,000 has the same purchasing power that $60,000 had just a few years ago. But the psychological benchmark hasn't moved. So you kill yourself to hit the number. You finally get the raise and your life doesn't change. The stress doesn't leave. This is the middle class trap. You earn enough to not qualify for help, but not enough to actually build freedom. You're running on a treadmill that is speeding up slightly faster than your legs can move. Most people fail financially not because they're bad with money, but because they're solving for the wrong variable. They're chasing a number that has been diluted. Now, let's talk about the catalyst, age 35. Why does everything break here? Why is there so much money anxiety in your 30s? Because 35 is when the lifestyle inflation curve usually intersects with the career ceiling. Up until 30, you can grind, you have energy, you can sleep on a mattress on the floor, you can work double shifts, you can eat ramen. But somewhere around 30, life gets heavy. You might get married, you might have kids, you might just get tired. Your body, whether you swing a hammer or sit in a chair, starts to keep score. The back hurts a little more, the patience wears a little thinner. This is a hard truth about money. If you haven't established income growth or a solid base by 35, you lose your primary leverage, agility. When you were young and broke, you can take risks. You can quit the job. You can move cities. When you are 35 and broke, you're stuck. You can't quit because the mortgage is due. You can't pivot because the kids need braces. You lose the ability to say no. And once you lose the ability to say no to your employer, they own you. That is the modern financial pressure explained. It's not just about the digits in the bank account. It's about the walls closing in. Here's the chemistry that nobody talks about, the math of wealth building. You've heard of compound interest, but you probably haven't realized how brutal the penalty is for starting late. Let's say you want to have $1 million by 65, standard retirement. If you start at 25, you need to invest a few $100 a month. Doable. If you start at 35, that number doesn't just double, it nearly triples. The curve goes vertical. If you don't have high income by 35, the capital required to catch up becomes mathematically impossible for a standard paycheck to cover. This is why you feel like you're falling behind in life, because mathematically you are fighting gravity.
This is the silent pressure to succeed. You sense that the window is closing. And look, I'm not saying it's over. I'm saying the difficulty setting just went from normal to hardcore. Listen to me closely. You don't need to work harder. You're already tired. You don't need more motivation. You need better inputs, better strategy, better perspective. If you are listening to this, you are looking for an edge. You are looking to understand the mechanics so you can stop being a victim of them. Hit subscribe. Let's raise the standard. So, what happens if you don't make 100K by 35? Do you just give up? No, but you have to identify the career mistakes in your 30s that kill your momentum. The biggest mistake? Loyalty. Corporations and even small business owners rely on your inertia. They know that by 35 you are tired, you want stability, so they stop giving you significant raises. They give you a cost of living adjustment that doesn't even cover the price of eggs. If you are in an office, you get promoted to a title with more stress and zero extra pay. If you're in the trades, you get put on the hardest jobs because you're the reliable guy. Being reliable without leverage is a recipe for poverty. To break this, you have to force a reaction. You have to realize that financial success in your 30s doesn't come from doing your job well. It comes from being difficult to replace. You need to specialize. If you're a general laborer, you're a commodity. If you're a specialized welder, you are an asset. If you're a general data entry clerk, you are replaceable by AI. If you manage the workflow, you are the architect. Income growth stops when you stop learning. Most people stop learning at 25. By 35, they are obsolete. They just haven't been fired yet. Let's talk about the solution. How do we fix the batch? If you aren't hitting the number yet, or if you are but you still feel broke, you need to change the pressure in the system. You need to stop obsessing over lifestyle inflation and start obsessing over liquidity. Money is condensed freedom. The reason life is falling apart or feels like it is because you have zero buffer. You are driving a car at 100 miles an hour with no brakes. Before you worry about the $1 million retirement, you need the 6-month shield. Why? Because of what we talked about earlier, agility. If you have 20 grand in the bank, you can tell a toxic boss to shove it. You can move for a better opportunity. You can weather a layoff. Financial freedom isn't a yacht. Financial freedom is the ability to make decisions based on what is best for you, not what is best for your bills. If you are 35 and broke, your priority isn't investing in crypto. Your priority is cutting the fat, working the extra hours, selling the junk, and building that shield. Once you have the shield, the anxiety drops, the desperation leaves your voice, and ironically, that is usually when you start making more money. People like to hire confident people. No one hires desperate people. Finally, we have to address the comparison culture. Social media is a highlight reel of lies. You see the 22-year-old crypto millionaire and you feel like a failure. Stop it. Real wealth, the kind that lasts, is boring. It is slow. It is unsexy. It is driving a 5-year-old truck when you could afford a new one. It is packing a lunch when your coworkers order Uber Eats. It is putting money into a boring index fund every single month while everyone else talks about the next big squeeze. You might feel behind, but the game is long. If you wake up at 35 with $0, you still have 30 years of earning power left. You can still build an empire, but you cannot do it if you are paralyzed by shame. Shame is an impurity. It ruins the product. You have to accept where you are, coldly, without emotion. Okay, I'm 35. I have debt. I make 70K. The market says I should make 100. Fine. What is the next move? That is the millionaire mindset. Not manifesting checks in the mail, but ruthless, unemotional problem solving. The number 100K is just a symbol. For some of you in high-cost cities, it's poverty wages. For some of you in rural areas, it's a king's ransom. Don't get hung up on the symbol. Get focused on the chemistry. The pressure you feel is real. The system is harder than it was for your parents. The adulting mistakes carry heavier consequences now. But you have the one thing that matters: awareness. Most people sleepwalk until they are 50. You are awake now. You know the timeline. You know the cost of waiting. You know that reliability without leverage is a trap. So, stop looking at the rearview mirror. Stop looking at what you should have done by 30. Start cooking with what you have today. Remember,
I provide the chemistry, you cook the product. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. Stay out of my territory. Class dismissed.
Say my name. Say it.
You are Hiesenbank.
You are goddamn right.